So, okay, so today here we're talking about how the genres developed in the English literature. We'll talk about the time, different periods. We'll also talk about different genres and how they developed, and we'll discuss literary examples, plot, setting, character, and what the focus was on. Natasha, please start talking about the Anglo-Saxon invasion and Beowulf as the example of literature at that time.
Anglo-Saxon invasion started in the 5th century AD. Britain was invaded by the tribes of Germanic origin. The genre was myth. Literary example, for example, is Beowulf. Plot is about unreal. Plot is unreal, close to a tale fighting with dragons. The story is set in various places on the earth. The character is a supernatural hero with extraordinary powers, and the focus on fighting with the unknown.
Okay, so in general, we can say that that is the first example in the English literature. It's a myth. It explains something about the nature and something about the world. And we see that the characters are supernatural with extraordinary powers, like in a tale. Okay, yeah, good. Anya, please tell us about the Viking invasion.
Viking invasion was in the 18th century. Vikings were related to the Anglo-Saxons and spoke Germanic languages. The main genre was the legend. The literary example is King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table. The plot is about a person that probably existed. The story is set somewhere in England. Camelot is an imaginary place. The prototype of King Arthur was King Alfred, who fought against the Vikings. And the focus on the life of nobility and fighting for power.
Okay, yeah, so we see that here, so the Vikings, so though they were related to the Anglo-Saxons and spoke Germanic languages, but they still were enemies. Yeah. And as they were enemies, Anglo-Saxons fought about them, and in the stories of that time, they presented King Alfred in the character of King Arthur. Okay, good. We see that the characters already changed. Marin, next. The Roman
the Norman invasion. Norman invasion started in the 11th century. They were French-speaking Vikings. Middle Ages started. This three languages were in use: French for upper class, Latin for church, English for lower classes. The main genre is the legend. Literary example is Robin Hood. A plot is it is a story about a person that probably existed. Setting: Nottinghamshire, real places.
Yeah, so it's already a real place, yeah? If here the setting was in different places, but not in the real places, Camelot was imaginary and Beowulf was somewhere else, here we see it's already the real place.
Character: the ordinary person, close to the common people, focus on fighting with the rich, helping the poor.
Yeah, and you see that already the focus goes or comes down from fighting with the unknown to fighting for power to fighting for the poor people. Okay, so Natasha, next.
The High Middle Ages were characterized by domination of church. The main event was the Hundred Years' War between France and England, in the result of which the French language lost its positions and English became popular again. The main genre is short stories about various people. A literary example is the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. Plot is a collection of stories about all layers of the society. The stories are set in various places. The character represent different layers of the society, and the focus is on the life of ordinary people, their emotions and reactions.
You see that from unknown, nobility, rich and poor, we already come to the ordinary people. Yeah? So, but emotions and reactions of these people are very simple. They either laugh or they explain why they laugh. Yes, so we can't say that it's a very developed. It's a very developed time. Not very developed time, but the genres are very developed. Okay, next.
Renaissance. Renaissance started in the 16th century and was connected with the Reformation. Reformation led to the event that Anglican Church became independent from the Roman Church and art started developing in England. The main genre is tragedy, a play or drama. A literary example is Hamlet by William Shakespeare. The plot is about revenge. The story is set in the 7th century, Dark Ages. Characters reveal their thoughts through their words and focus on the inner world of a person and their feelings.
Okay, very good. So you see that from events we come already to the inner world of personality. Okay, Marin, next.
Enlightenment. Enlightenment started in 17th and 18th centuries, meant progress in science, which gave progress to many spheres of life. Industrialization started, people believed in the power of humanity. The main genre is tragedy, or its main genre is novel and adventure stories. Travelers, satire became a part of the novel. A literary example, Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, Gulliver's Travels by Gulliver's
Travels.
Plot is traveling to other countries, comparing other cultures of English culture. Setting different places. England is a final destination.
Yeah, so people travel to different countries and see different cultures, they still return to England. Yeah, and this is important. Okay.
Character, real people, and fictional, natives of other countries. Focus on society, political and social differences.
Okay, so we see that already at the age of the Enlightenment, people came from the focus on inner soul, so to the society. Society became important, but this is all amplitudinal. It's like it goes up and down, and already in Romanticism we see that it goes from society to the individual. It goes this way. Okay, Natasha, talk about Romanticism.
Romanticism, 18th and 19th centuries. Industrial revolution and urbanization changed the society. Romantics stressed the importance of nature, emotions, childhood. The main genres are novels and travelogues. Literary examples are Childe Carroll's Pilgrimage by Byron and Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. The plot of Childe and Carroll's Pilgrimage is travel, and the plot of Pride and Prejudice is getting married.
It's, you see that, like it's like learning something, going from one point to the other point. Yeah, okay.
The Byron's story is set in Europe, and Pride and Prejudice is set in England. The characters are real people from middle class or upper middle class. The focus is on the emotional development of the characters, their personal changes and experiences.
Okay, yeah, so we see that here we also have, in Renaissance, we also had the focus on the inner world. Yeah? But here we see that the emotional development, the building of a person becomes very important, and we'll see it later in the Victorian literature. Okay, yeah, Victorian literature.
Victorian literature started in the second half of the 19th century. In the time, Britain became the biggest colonial empire in the world and the financial center of the world. Inside the country, the difference between the rich and the poor was striking. Here we see real stories with the elements of gossip. Literary examples are Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol and Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre. They are Bildungsroman. The stories that show personal development of characters. Stories set in England. The characters are real people from lower and higher class, and we see also goths. The focus on inner development of a personality and positive changes.
Okay, yeah. And like here we see that it's important to develop if you want to get a better life. Yeah? And that is also very important. This is the important development in literature. Okay, yeah. Marin, talk about the Edwardian literature.
Edwardian literature, beginning of the 20th century, time of social changes, fighting for women's right, change in class system. Genre is play, a combination of comedy and dramedy. Literary example is Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion. A plot is transformation from a lower class to the upper class with the help of education. The story is set.
The story is set.
The story is set in the center of London as a place of contrasts where rich and poor people coexist. Character, educated versus uneducated people. Focus on education help people change their positions in society.
Okay, yeah, very good. So once again, let's review. What are the main times? What are the main periods in the English literature? Natasha.
Anglo-Saxon invasion.
Literature. We can say about Anglo-Saxon literature. Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon literature, Viking literature, the Norman literature, high Middle Ages literature, Renaissance literature, Enlightenment literature, Romantic literature, Victorian literature and Edwardian literature.
Yeah, and if we talked about modern times, there will be modernism, like modern literature, and postmodern literature. What do you know about modern and postmodern literature? So it's already difficult. We'll stop here. Yeah.